Let some go like this, mes petits cochons. Paré, toi. Paré. These two cultures in this area, Cajun culture, Creole culture, it's one culture. It's the way we sing, it's the way we dance, it's the food we cook. It's your nana, it's your parents, it's our religion, the stories you tell kids, like the loup-garou in the woods that's gonna scare you.
Voodoo is a spiritual path, a way that I lead my life.
People think we're sticking pins in dolls, and we are. I'll tell you, that's not what you think.
People, they want to feel included. And I think in New Orleans, you have a feeling of welcome in. You belong.
I remember the first time I ever flew on an airplane. As we flew across the country, I remember looking out the window the whole time, my nose just pressed against the glass, sort of surveying the land below me. I remember having this strange sense of duty to dedicate myself in some way to helping.
Opioid addiction reaching epidemic levels.
Fast-moving fires in parts of California.
Breaking news, at least 9 people killed overnight in a massacre.
As I grew older, I ended up raising a family and becoming a lawyer and ultimately becoming CEO of Chipotle Mexican Grill.
And it's a vision to change food culture.
One of the things I liked best was interacting with thousands and thousands of people over the years and really getting to know them. Loads of different people from very different walks of life. The more I got to know, the more convinced I was that, man, we're all very much the same in so many ways. And you wouldn't know that from what we see on TV or hear on the radio. All that stuff suggests that we're very divided, that we're not united at all, that we're all about disagreement, that we're all about arguing, that we're all about fighting. But I think the truth is just the opposite. There's a great deal more that unites us. What I want to do with this docuseries is to tell the stories of people who might never be seen or heard, and to help bring the wisdom from many people from many different walks of life so that everyone has access to it. In some ways, I'm still just that small boy with my nose pressed against the glass, looking down at this beautiful place we all live, and wanting to do some good. Wanting to demonstrate that there's a lot more that unites us than divides us. Landing in Louisiana, I'm excited to explore its unique culture and landscape. Much of the land here was formed when silts from the Mississippi River formed large swamps and bayous, making the place a paradise for fish, birds, and other wildlife. Long ago, Louisiana was heavily settled by French-speaking Acadians, otherwise known as Cajuns, but also by Spanish, German, English, African, and Native American people, forming what's now known as the Creole culture. While most people here are Christian, the state still has incredible religious diversity. For example, refugees fleeing the violence of the Haitian Revolution in the early 1800s added African culture, bringing new kinds of dance, music, and religious practices such as Voodoo, said to be one of the world's most misunderstood religions. All of this makes Louisiana unique, a melting pot of geographies, cultures, food, music, and religion. In fact, diversity is celebrated even in the state's constitution, which calls out the right of the people to preserve, foster, and promote their respective historic, linguistic, and cultural origins.
What does Creole mean? Where does that term come from?
So Creole was like the things of the New World. So like in Latin cultures or French culture, Spanish culture, whatever.
When you say Latin, you know, most people when you say Latin think of Latin America, south
Similar,
of the border.
So the Caribbean, you know?
Okay.
I mean, it's all Latin-based cultures.
Yeah.
You know? But, I mean, similarly, you've got areas of Western Africa. You know what I mean? You got Ile de Réunion all the way by Madagascar. Like all these, this is all Creole peoples.
Are most of the people in Louisiana Creole?
Historically, all of us were, you know?
Uh-huh.
But no, I mean, there's tons of English and Scottish and everything else that's moved here, like anywhere else in America.
So what percentage of the people who live in Louisiana are Creole?
It's tough because everybody assumes all of Louisiana is the same thing. But if you think of Louisiana, the map as a boot, all of this is an entirely different culture. This is all different religion, different accent, different everything.
Is it Christian?
Bible Belt. Oh yeah, it's all Baptist and Pentecostal and, you know what I mean? Just typical Mississippi,
how about
Alabama.
the bottom of the boot?
No, that's where all our people would be. So bottom of the boot.
And so who are they? Who are your people?
Cajun people, Creole people. My family's been here for a long time. We were definitely here before America. We're French, Native, Spanish, African, all of it. Historically, Cajuns would be people that are descended from Acadie. They were Acadians, which Cajun, anglicized version of that would be Cajun. When Acadians arrived in Louisiana, you already had people in Louisiana that were direct from France, and they would have just been Creole, right? Because they were normally the children of wealthy people, like the second sons. Because if you were an aristocrat or a big landowner or whatever, I mean, your first son's gonna get everything. So pretty good to go to the New World and go get your own estate as a second son. You had slaves, you had free people of color, you had Native Americans, right? You had the Takapaw and the Houma and all these different people. This is what South Louisiana was. And this culture had already kind of started to develop into a mix of those things. So when the Acadian people got here, they ended up becoming separate from the Acadians that are still left in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and these areas in Canada. And a lot of that is because of that greater Creole influence. So the Acadians came and they brought their own things. They might have had their own types of songs and dances and things that were added. They brought certain dishes that were added, but then you had these other things that existed that these French people might have added, these African people might have added, these natives added, Spanish, Germans, all of this, and created one distinct culture that was unified. You understand? Everybody kind of put something in the pot. So that greater thing is what I would say is the encompassing Creole. And then independently, Cajun being within that as, you know, you descend from this line of people. The history is what I just explained to you, right? But the living today is just, I mean, it's a culture. It's a living, breathing culture.
Is that culture important to you?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, so...
Without a doubt.
So tell me, and you grew up with that culture.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Tell me what it was like to be a young man growing up here with that culture.
I don't know. You get up, you go to school like anybody else, you know, but we got home. Mama would always have something good cooking because food's obviously a big thing for our people, you know. I mean, everybody hears about Cajun food, whatever, but they don't realize how much effort goes into that kitchen. Mama would have a pot started before she'd go to work in the morning, you know, and I'm just like a crock pot. Like, no, it's not that kind of meal. Like, this was work, you know, like you better come home and you gotta work on this. And that was if she was cooking something slower. If not, she'd get off of work and immediately start cooking. And I mean, just browning down a gravy, you know, you got your onions and celery and bell pepper and everything browning down. She'd have some meat over here and then that's gone, and always something cooking. There was always something good cooking.
Is there a restaurant around here where you can get great Cajun food, like
yeah.
what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, there's a million.
Million?
But honestly, I don't go to a lot of big restaurants as much as like the little mom and pop spots. So there's a lot of little bitty spots that if I drove by right now and I said like, hey, we ought to go stop at that Quick Stop, and you'd be like, I came all the way here and that's where you're gonna go take me? And I'd be like, yep.
We started actually cooking at my sister's place. Yeah. We'd sell seafood on Wednesday night.
People were liking it.
Oh yeah,
and
we
you
would
thought
sell
maybe
out.
we could get a space.
Liking it.
Right.
It was past liking.
Yeah,
the lines we was facing, it was past liking.
Yeah, as soon as we thought we'd be caught up, they'd come with some more
Past
tickets.
liking. So doing that consistently and the response we would get from just doing that on one day, he said, man, we ought to open our own restaurant. And I thought he was joking. 2 weeks later, he was like, man, I found the prime location.
Yeah.
We're known for good crawfish.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of other places that have crawfish.
Well, how can they be good or bad? Don't you just boil them?
No.
Oh, I know. I stepped in it now.
We're not buying no seasoning out the store. Like, we have our own blend that we created and people love it.
You guys kind of found a magic formula, didn't you?
Oh,
Yeah. That's what we call it.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that's the magic room back there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Top secret. No one's allowed in.
Yeah. We
That's
never
awesome.
wrote the recipe down nowhere. Me and him is the only one that knows it. When we first started, we only had 3 things on the menu. We had crawfish, shrimp, and snow crabs. And now we have burgers, we have chicken. And our chicken was voted 3rd best in Louisiana. First was Popeye, second was Chick-fil-A, and we were 3rd.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For us to win 3rd, you know, me and him coming from where we came from and trying to make this work, for us to be compared with them, you know, it's big. Most everybody that work here is our family.
So it's mostly a family business then?
Oh, yeah. Our slogan is family first, food forever.
I grew up on this side of town. This is the north end of Lake Charles, and I was more city-oriented.
Okay.
I would do country, like my family come from the country, but I was like one of those
You were a
kids.
city boy.
Yeah.
City boy.
I
You
didn't
go
start
get
like
dirty.
hunting and fishing until like I was a teenager. My upbringing was like single parent home, can't always get what I want, got a younger brother, younger sister. I just was one of those ones that always wanted more. And like when I was able to step out on my own and show somebody like my potentials and what I can do, you know, what can I bring to the table, you know, I would always just do my best at it.
My mom lived kind of here in town, but my grandmother and my dad, you know, we lived out in the country. So I got to see some city life a little bit, but most of the time I was out in the country. I started welding at 15, so when I graduated high school, I went straight to work. I had a lot of knowledge real young, and I could understand the new welding machines that were being made. So they made me a supervisor at like 21.
Oh, wow.
Because I was teaching these older men who didn't know nothing.
How to use the welding
Yeah.
machine.
So, and then from there, I was an inspector. Sometimes I'd be on the road. Like I went to Texas for a 6-week job and stayed 9 months.
Oh, wow.
And then like we got laid off on Thursday. They texted me Friday. I had to be in California Monday.
Oh, my gosh.
So
So
I'd
it
be-
wasn't a perfect job for a family, raise
I
a
didn't
family.
have my little girl yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I was done with that, working on the road, when she was born, I
had
didn't
to
want to
go
go
a different
back.
direction,
Yeah, because you can't raise a family working on the road.
I have friends and people I know that have families from either Texas or Indiana or wherever, and it's very common to be like, oh yeah, that's my brother, he lives in this state, I hadn't seen him in 2-3 years, and it's gonna be nice to get together, you know, or here's my other sister, or she lives, you know, such and such, and I hadn't seen her, it's been, you know, 6 months, this and that. That's preposterous in my mind. I've got 3 sisters, you know, like, I see them all the time.
And they live right nearby.
Yeah, I see them all the time. Like, we
And so you hope
fuss.
your kids will live nearby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know they will.
Yeah.
Like, they just will. They say it all the time. They're like, Daddy, we want to build on the property, this and that. I'm like, you're a kid. Maybe it'll be different when you get older.
What is it about Louisiana that families stay close?
I don't know. You see them all the time. You know? You spend your time with them. We've moved more than our parents or anyone before them would have moved. Like, I moved probably about 30 minutes, 35 minutes from where like I grew up. Like, that's pretty far. I know it
Pretty far
sounds
afield.
ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It does.
Because people move across the country. But like when I was a kid, if somebody would say, depending on what last name they said they were, right? What family name, it denoted where you were from. Because most people ask me, they're like, Thibodeau, you from Church Point? I get that all the time. And I'm not, because I'm one of the very few Thibodeaus who weren't in that area. All these little towns, like, You go to Grand Bois or something like that, that's Ontarios, you know, like all these families live right there. Over here is the Angels. Like if you tell you an Angel, chances are you from up around Bridge, Cecilia. You're from one of those two little towns. Like that's just, it is what it is, you know? And it's because these families would come and settle, and then your kids move right there, their kids move right there, their kids move right there.
You've been in New Orleans your whole life then?
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Mom's from here, Papa's from here. We go back a ways in New Orleans.
Is that kind of a Louisiana thing? It seems like everyone stays pretty close. Like people don't move away. Why?
I think that the South, we have such a connection with family. And if your family's here, it's where you want to be. Also, a lot of people end up taking care of other siblings. They end up taking care of their parents. Yeah. And so there's a part where you really do love where you are. There's another part where you kind of feel like you have to stick close.
I see.
That your family counts on you to be here. And I will tell you, Katrina changed that around. There were people who had literally never left New Orleans or the area, and then losing homes, losing family homes. People ended up being scattered to the wind.
You remember it pretty well?
Oh, damn Skippy, I do.
Yeah.
It was kind of like one of those last man standing things. There was my house with a lot of damage, but it was able to be repaired. I was surrounded, though, by just flat, like there's ground where a house used to be. There's ground where little houses, giant houses used to be. Anyone who had yard space had people, family and friends in their yards in FEMA trailers. And that went on longer than you might think. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, it's almost like people were in a limbo. We just had Ida, and I had 16, 17 people, all their pets at my house in every nook and cranny. Bottom line is, down here, people help each other out. I'm not saying that doesn't happen other places, but I know down here during Katrina, Zeta, Ida, we are out there and we're helping each other tarp roofs. One person's cooking barbecue, everyone's eating barbecue. So the whole idea that people really come together down here, it really is true.
You are, and you said Osofo?
Osofo meaning priest.
Okay,
Osofo
priest.
Fiara, it was the full name, and for my priesthood name, Osofo Fiara.
What's that, Fiara?
Yeah, Fiara, and Africans, we believe in the Ra gods. One of, a time Napoleon wanted to crown himself Ra.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah. This came from the African perspective.
Okay.
From the days of the Pharaoh.
Yeah, I remember that. Ra, like the sun,
Ra, the good sun gods, yeah.
And so, but are you a voodoo priest?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I was trained, raised one way or the other. No, because I'm not an ardent practitioner. I don't sell relics, I don't do a lot of things as people may require a priest to be doing.
What is it that you do?
I drum, I sing, I write songs, I write even gospel songs. What about that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Christian gospel songs?
Christian gospel songs.
Do you find that Christianity is largely consistent with voodoo?
Well, it's all perpendicular, you know, and one way or the other. When you look at it this way, you look at it that way. I don't know.
But they don't collide. They don't.
They do. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's the Christians who got more, you know, infuriated by the voodoo practitioners' way of doing things.
I see.
Yeah, and but if you look at it deep down, we are looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
All people trying to reach God.
When were you first introduced to voodoo?
I felt called from a really young age to have connections with, I guess I'd just say, the natural world. Let's say I'd have a question. What was gonna go on, what was gonna happen? There might be a rose in the garden, and I knew that rose was telling me something. Could have been a stoplight. Could have been a bee that's just sitting in front of my face, not moving anywhere. And I would know that was a relation that had passed, coming to say hello to me. I felt that Spirit was always walking with me. I don't remember a time when Spirit wasn't. All due respect to all religions of the world, there are some people who take their idea and their concept of what they may view as evil, and then when they see it expressed by another completely different tradition, religion, path, they're using their explanation for that symbol, and it's a totally different reason that other culture is using that symbol. A lot of this came from people from the outside looking in, seeing symbols that they didn't understand and getting thrown into an evil pot.
Right, but it might be more than just a naive or gentle misunderstanding. It also might be because it sells a lot more T-shirts to have a skull with blood coming out the mouth saying voodoo.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean?
Movies don't thrive on, peace, love, and understanding.
No.
They thrive on drama, and woo.
Right.
Growing up in South Louisiana, you always know about voodoo. We have a thing in voodoo called a gris-gris. It's a bag we tie up with certain herbs and roots. We give it to people to help them with, if they're going to the casino to win some money, or if they're having health problems to help with their health, maybe attract a lover, things like this. But in the Cajun language, gris-gris, people would always threaten this, He's gonna put the gris-gris on you. Gris-gris meant like they were gonna put something on you, put some magic on you. But it's just simply misunderstood. People didn't take the time to ask the questions. What is that? Why are you putting pins into that figure? It's an old African tradition. They would carve a statue out of wood. Let's say someone had a heart problem. They would drive a nail into the heart of that statue. It was a way of tapping into an energy for healing.
Is voodoo heavily aimed towards improving one's health?
Not just health. It's about becoming a better human being. That's the ultimate goal. Voodoo originates from West Africa.
How long ago?
Oh, as far as we can tell, about 10,000 years.
Oh, wow, so it's older than Christianity, older than Buddhism, maybe.
It's extremely old, but it's extremely preserved.
And is there a God in the religion?
There is. God we call bon Dieu, which just basically means in French, good God. When God created the earth, he also created spirits, special spirits that we serve in voodoo called the Loa. And these spirits were created by God for us to serve them so that they could serve us. So we serve the spirits and they guide us through life. I was born like most people in South Louisiana, a good Catholic.
Okay. So you went to the Catholic church growing up?
Yeah, went to Catholic church, went to Catholic school. And,
learned about God and Jesus. And
correct.
Yeah.
Everyone was Catholic. So it was just normal everyday life, but I was always trying to find something more. It was always a search. And I think that's what ultimately led me to Voodoo. When I was 10 years old, I was with my step-grandmother. She lives in New Orleans. She makes candles for a living. And we were delivering candles to a voodoo shop in the French Quarter. And she was bringing the candles in the door, and she turned around and she saw someone. And she put the candles out. She said, "Wait, you got to meet this old lady." So we ran across the street and met Mama Margaret, this old lady. She was just getting into her car, and she got out, and when she saw me, she gave me a big hug, and we were best friends from that point on.
Immediately.
And I could feel something about her as soon as I met her. It was a glow, it was a happiness, it was...
Love?
Love, absolute. We spent so much time together, and she's the one who really got me started and got me going to ceremonies, and I just knew. Always had an interest in theology since I was a small child.
Yeah.
And I just found a home here. I knew that I wanted to be a priest. I knew this was the thing in my life that I needed. I had to do this, but I never could do it. It's a lot of work to become a priest. It's a lot of things you have to do, and I never was at a point. And finally, I left it alone. If you sit back, if you stop searching, stop worrying, the Spirit will put you where you're supposed to be. And that's a hard lesson for me to learn, that I just gotta let Spirit do what they're gonna do. I can't force anything. And the Spirit brought Mama Lola, which is my spiritual mother. And through Mama Lola, I was brought to my spiritual father, Jean-Francois, and he's the one who finally put me through the Jevo, we call it. That's the initiation chamber. Some people even call it the tomb, because initiation is a symbol of death and rebirth.
Like many others, I had always thought of voodoo as being about curses, black magic, frightening spirits, and other symbols of darkness. But in the presence of Andrew, Jesse, and Brandy, I felt so much warmth, and they've shown me that voodoo is based on respect and reverence, with an emphasis on caring for others, healing people, and improving lives. I was surprised to learn how African people, as they were made to practice Catholicism as slaves, incorporated many of the Catholic saints as voodoo spirits, and that it's common to practice both religions simultaneously, going to Mass, but then paying respect to and seeking guidance from the many spirits of the voodoo religion. I'm eager to learn more, because what truly heals people is certainly something that has never been completely understood.
I had cancer at one point in my throat, years back.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, couldn't talk at all for a long time. It's kind of a wild story. I had went to the doctor. I'd already had a couple of surgeries and we couldn't get a negative resection. They kept having some tumor in there, and like you could see it because I went and they had a camera and there was a TV.
Yeah.
So you could see what they were doing. And your throat should look like this, you know, it's a tube and it's got...
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that before because mine get messed up too. So.
But then there was a big thing like this.
All up on there?
Yeah, but it was below the vocal cords, just a big mass. And after the last surgery went and there was still something there, so he said, well, let's just play it safe. We're gonna do a partial laryngectomy. So taking out half of my larynx. I said, well, doc, if we do that, I'm gonna have one vocal cord, man. I'm gonna sound like a woman. He said, no, more like Kermit the Frog. We went for pre-op and blood work and that. And he did everything and was like, all right, you good. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. this and that. I said, okay, sounds good. And he left, and then he came right back in About 5 minutes later, he goes, you know what? Let me get a fresh pair of eyes on it so I can remember. I want to mark exactly where I'm cutting. That way I don't do more than I have to, you know? So he ran the camera, and everything wasn't there. He was like, you trying to throw a wrench in things? And I was like, I don't know. And I'm looking at the screen, and my ex-wife, she was sitting there, and she's looking at the screen just sobbing. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, what the hell you did? I said, I don't know, I prayed a lot. And he was like, all right, well, let's put the surgery off. I said, okay. And he said, come back next week. I said, okay. So I went back the next week. And then we did 1 week at a time. And then after that, it was every 2 weeks. And then after that, every month. Then after that, every 2 months. Then 6 months. Then, I don't know, it didn't come back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But during that time, you decided, you know, you got the gift of your voice back.
Well, yeah,
so
I wanted to record some songs because I figured in the event that would come back and that I would have to get my throat cut out, I was like, well, I should at least record some music just so they could have, you know, they could at least have a recording of me, whatever.
Was that the impetus for your band, really? That's where it all started?
So I went and I got my buddies together and I was like, hey, I'd really appreciate it if y'all come play these songs. I wrote all these songs and I'd like to record them. And they were like, yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to help you out. And we went and we started recording. Well, as soon as we started recording, Cedric and I had been really good buddies. Him and I would play music together all the time. And we started playing and Joel was like, well, man, I love these songs. He's like, this is good music. I was like, all right. And he's like, I want to play in it. I was like, all right, that sounds good. So then my buddy Alan played bass. Him and I had been friends for years. And next thing you know, it was a band. It was just supposed to be an album for my kids. And then we put it out and it got great reviews. And it ended up being a really good thing.
Goodbye, cher vieillement, et bye-bye, bon vieux Paul. Bye-bye à mes frères et mes chats titres. Moi j'étais condamné pour la balance de ma vie dans les bas de la prison.
No matter what religion we choose, there are certain things that seem to comfort and heal us all. Love, family, friendship, the feeling of connection that arises in our hearts when we share a meal, sing together, or dance together. Life isn't easy for any of us, but if we're willing to open our hearts to each other and find friendship with the many people we come to know in our lives, we may find a lot more comfort than we even thought possible. Did you grow up right around here?
Yeah.
And where are we?
Plaisance, Louisiana.
Plaisance, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And so, did you grow up in this house here?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Since you were born?
No, I actually come from Palmetto, Louisiana, which is maybe 20 minutes away from here. It's another little small country town.
And you moved here at what age?
I was probably about 7.
So what's it like growing up around here? Like, what kind of childhood was it?
Well, you worked a lot.
Doing what?
Taking care of animals, just, you know, taking care of everything, really. Of course, we got to ride horses like we wanted every day. You just felt more free in the country, you know, you could just do more, you know, versus being in the city.
Yeah.
You know, you're limited on things that you could do.
Did you have some friends live nearby?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you grow up with kids who grew up around here?
Yeah, this was like the party spot for everybody. Like, everybody would come over here.
Your house was the party spot?
Yeah. My brothers were older, so they would have their friends over and stuff, and we just like to party and have a good time.
Big parties?
Big parties, yeah.
How big?
Probably about 50, 60 people parties.
Uh-huh.
You know?
And did you cook? What was it?
Oh, yeah, you know, once everybody got together, we was gonna put a pot on.
A pot of what?
Something.
Uh-huh.
Whatever looked good, we could kill and whatever.
Do you cook most of your own food?
Yeah. Yeah, we grow most of our own animals and stuff, and we got the garden for our vegetables and stuff as well. Sometimes we just go to the store and just buy some stuff and come back and cook. You know, everybody put in a certain amount of money, and we just go to the store and just buy something to cook for that day or whatever, and just make a good time out of it.
Gotta get it done, baby. Ranch life. A lot of our grandparents and great-grandparents grew up on farms.
Yeah.
So basically, they the ones that instilled in their kids and showed them how to live off the land with growing their own crops, butchering hogs, raising hogs, you know, right there in their backyard.
Right.
And it just trickled down as we come about, you know.
So it comes from the fact that I guess the society down here is a lot of people raising animals, vegetables, and making their own food, and just having that skill.
See, we got a lot of farmland down here, so a lot of our people they know how to do stuff dealing with farms and growing their own stuff.
Okay.
So that's how that goes.
Yeah.
But there's something with the partying thing that, like, we've been in other states.
We'll turn a party. We'll make a party out of anything.
But
we can turn this into a party.
Exactly. But I'm wondering where that comes from. That, like, you know, some other states like that have a lot of agriculture. They have agriculture, and then that's it. They go home and go to bed. But here, you guys have agriculture, and then you have huge parties.
Yeah, I think it's the music that has a lot to do with it too.
Okay.
And then a lot of times too, my grandmother would butcher hogs at the first frost, like in November, and that's what you ate all winter.
I mean, that's part of it too, though, is that you're butchering usually a large animal. Like if you butcher
and you're
a
giving
pig,
something to everybody.
yeah, you might as well have a party because you got so much.
Normally, it'll be a couple different families coming in on a butchering.
Right.
You know, so Antonio and them might take X amount of meat. This family gonna get X amount of meat. This family gonna get X amount of meat. So with that one butchering, you feeding 5 or 6 families.
Yeah, 5 or 6
So it's
whole
gonna be a
families.
mass of people.
Yeah, and
so you might as well have a party.
Right, correct.
Right.
You're enjoying yourself, you know. So that's when the party and stuff just start.
It seems like people from Louisiana are really focused on food and big parties.
And music.
And music.
Yeah, music.
Food, music, and parties.
It's part of the culture, you know. Right. It don't matter how bad of a day you had. If you listen to some good music and eat some good food,
you go
that's why there's speakers in here everywhere. I want people to come here and enjoy themselves, you know, feel welcome. I take pride in butchering animals and raising animals healthy, you know, to feed other people and all that. So, like, that's why the restaurant is so strong, because there's people who don't have money. They come here, they go ask for me and him. I'm hungry. You know, they know we're going to feed them because I saw my grandparents do it. As a child, you know, they fed everybody. Nobody went hungry. They had a hurricane here, I don't know if y'all know, last year, and we cooked every day for 6 weeks and fed thousands of people for free.
Did you really?
Yes, sir, right here on this patio.
So 6 weeks every day you fed people free food out there.
Thousands of people. We was a part of the North Side giveaway.
Okay.
Like this was a prime area. If you needed something, they know. Come to Circle 7.
Circle
Them guys
7.
got it.
You couldn't even turn in. It was so many people here giving away stuff.
Oh,
like
wow.
you started on this end, you got food, you got shampoo. And it was like stations all the way down, all the way to the end, and we even had dog food. And we gave away everything, and then when it was time to clean my house, I was like, dang.
You got nothing left.
I gotta go buy some stuff to do my house. The hurricane took off the whole back wall to my house. I plugged up a generator and shoot, we stayed together in my house and we still was over here cooking.
Right.
How could you afford to give away food for 6 weeks?
If you do it from the heart,
it just keeps coming.
It just keeps coming, yeah.
It's not about money in business. You know, people are human, they gotta eat.
What is this trail riding? How'd you get into this?
It was a next door neighbor. He used to go to trail rides every weekend. He had a group called Plaisance Riders, and we would always go with him, and we just took a liking to it.
When you said you'd always go with him, you'd go out and just ride horses?
Yeah, we would ride horses and...
Long trails or what?
It's probably like about 4 miles one way, so
Okay.
it's about 8 miles total. But it's just a good time. You just stop and you party. You know, you have a DJ playing some music.
In the middle of the...
In the middle of the woods.
Oh, cool.
And you just, you know, just meet people and just hang out and get to talk with people and stuff like that.
Do you have your own?
Yes. Barnyard Posse.
What is it called?
Barnyard Posse.
Barnyard Posse?
Yeah.
Is it one night or?
3 nights.
3 nights?
Yeah.
3 nights?
3 nights.
And it's going?
Yeah.
The whole time?
So there's no sleep.
Really?
Yeah, for 3 nights.
How many people are at this thing?
It depends on who trail rides. Some do more than others.
Is it 10 people or is it 50 people?
Oh, no, it's probably about 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Oh.
It's like a family reunion. Everybody come together and you're gonna eat some good food. A band gonna start playing. They have a DJ playing while you're setting up. People go ride in the mud. They call it mudding. Have like little competitions on who can pass through that mud, and people just get a kick out of it. That's what it's about, you know, make sure everybody have a good time. Once you come to a trail ride, you'll always come to a trail ride.
How often is there one that you go to?
It's one every weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, like 3 nights every weekend?
Some of them be 3 nights, some of them be 2 nights.
Okay, so Shane, I'm starting to think you're partying all the time.
Yeah.
And is there a lot of drinking?
For some people, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Me, myself, I don't drink.
Oh, you don't drink?
No, I just never took into it. It's there, I just don't drink it.
I guess that's why you can keep going. Do
Yeah.
so many trail rides and still have a job.
Yeah, yeah. I'm addicted to the fun and the atmosphere, the vibes, and get to meet some real cool people.
I'd only been trail riding for 5 years.
Okay.
My very first trail ride was from a coworker, and he said, I'm having a trail ride this week and you want to come out. So,
Did you say, what's that? Or did you already know?
yeah, I kind of heard that they ride horses, but I didn't know what the trail ride was. So I said, okay, so he gave me the address. We got lost a few times, me and my husband and my kids got lost. Finally found it. It was in Greensburg, Louisiana. And so we pulled up, it was just horses everywhere. They had camper trailers, riding the 4-wheelers, and it was like, oh, wow. You heard music, they was cooking.
The very first time, did you decide, this is for me, I'm gonna do this more
so
often?
we went out there, me and my husband, my kids, and my husband was like, you know what? I'm gonna get you a camper. So the next week, he went and found us a traveling trailer. So the next weekend, they had another trail ride. So we had bought a trailer, and we had bought a little Honda 4-wheeler.
So okay. So right away, you were investing in this.
He was like, I love it. Because it's just the feeling, like, from being in a city, the busy life, to go where it's peace and quiet.
Okay.
You don't hear no cars, no police sirens, just peace and quiet.
Is that like the biggest part of your life here in terms of what you do for fun?
Yeah. Because I work, you know, I'm a nurse, so I'm always on call. So I look forward to going to a trail ride, listen to the music, the Zydeco. I love to dance. I call myself the Zydeco dancing diva.
What makes Zydeco so special?
To me, the different instruments and the beats that you hear and just the sound. An average Zydeco band have the accordion, they have a keyboard player, have a guitar, they have a bass player, they have the scrubboard player. I even got on stage, played the scrubboard.
Was it fun?
Yes, I love it. And you just, the music, the beat, it just like, it awakened my soul. It's soul food.
So has this made life a lot more fun, this trail riding?
Yes.
Way more fun?
I needed it.
Good.
It's
So you
therapy. It's therapy to me. I've been a nurse for 7 years. Before that, I was at-home mom, and that's what I did. I took care of my children, took care of my grandmother, and I was going to nursing school. My grandmother raised me, and she was a nurse, so she taught me different things, and so I just knew, like, oh, I enjoyed it. It really is a true calling for me. I love it. I have my master's degree in nursing, and I'm working on my doctorate degree.
Oh, good
so
for you.
I'm always constantly serious. My mind have to be focused. But when I'm out at a trail ride, all the stress is over. When the band plays, all I'm worried about is if I'm moving my right or left foot.
So it kind of brings you into the moment. You forget about your work, you forget about your doctorate,
everything.
you forget about all the struggles.
And all I feel is just the motion of the horse, just riding her, you know, just smiling, and, you know, it's just awesome.
In Louisiana, I've seen what I've experienced almost everywhere I've traveled, that people find comfort in connection with others. Trail rides, for example, provide a rich venue for people to get together and ride, dance, play, and celebrate. It gives meaning to life and also brings people closer. But other times, strong bonds are formed not from celebration, but from enduring something difficult together. Mutual struggle and enduring hardship can also bring us closer.
Right now, you're in a place called the Peristyle. In Voodoo tradition, this is the gathering place. This is where the ceremonies take place. This is where everyone comes together. When it's not ceremony time, this is where everyone hangs out. They get out of the sun, they eat their food. This is where everyone spends their time. The jivel is an initiation chamber. And when you initiate, you're in there. You don't come out. You're in there for 7 days. And it's a hard process. A lot of people have trouble with it.
When you were in the JVO for those 7 days, were you alone or were you with others?
I was with others.
And have you remained close to those people?
Oh, yeah. You never forget the people you were in the JVO with.
There's a bond that takes place between you and the other people there that is unlike anything that I can explain. And it's a bond that doesn't go away. There's a connection to spirit and your spiritual self because there's no other distractions than you could say it's so hot. It's not meant to be a joyride. It is meant to be very hard on you physically, spiritually, emotionally. That is on purpose. You're stripped pretty bare.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about being naked or anything lewd.
But emotionally, physically.
Emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever you think you are, you know, you're like some, you know, big guns or whatever coming in, you are stripped bare to your core and you are on an equal footing with everyone else laying in there. Initiation is the great equalizer.
Did you see visions? Did you go through something profound?
It was the hardest experience of my life and the most rewarding. I guess it's almost like someone going through basic training. It's very hard during it, but you have a sense of accomplishment after.
And once you're a priest, is there an ongoing commitment as a priest? Once you're a priest, is there a dedication for life?
Absolutely. You can never stop being a priest. Throughout the year, we have ceremonies. That's important not only for our own spiritual health, but the health of the whole society. Okay. So that we all can come together as a group and serve the spirit together.
What kind of ceremony might you want to attend?
If we were prepared for a ceremony here, someone would be making something called the veve. The veve is a symbol on the ground that we make out of cornmeal. Every spirit has a veve. And then we would dance around this during the ceremony and dance on the veve. In Voodoo, the drums that's like very important people because there's a different rhythm for every nation. They have to know all these rhythms, what time to do this, what time to do that. They have so much that they have to learn. And drummers are very connected to their drum. That's their livelihood. That's everything to them. And even here in the United States, voodoo drummers are in high demand. And they typically don't have to do anything else but drum for voodoo ceremonies.
And they can make a living that way.
They'll make a living.
So what does voodoo mean to you? Like, what is it about?
Voodoo is an Ewe language, Ewe term, my ethnic language, saying voodoo, to free a town, to free a community, to free the people, voodoo.
Oh.
Or voodoo, yeah.
So voodoo, the name, actually means to free people.
To free people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's not about taking dolls and putting little things to hurt people. And
Those are the symbols. And so negative people measure on the fragments of those.
Yeah.
And the dolls...
So you're saying negative people take that aspect of
and
voodoo...
amplify it.
And amplify
in their own negative way.
I see.
But
it's not true.
It's not true. The dolls were like efficacies of it, like a symbol of...
like an effigy?
Yeah, effigy. Mm-hmm. That if my arm is in pain, you can use that doll and make prayers, incantations, and stick the pin there, just I'm giving you inoculation or injection.
Yeah.
You see, so that is...
To fix it.
To fix it.
I work with a lot of people that have been cursed, walking around with something on them that someone's put on them. And that's the #1 thing I do in the priesthood, is take things off of people. Every priest is really good at one or another thing. That's what I'm really good at, is cleansing, removing things and protecting it from coming back again.
A lot of your work, then, is dealing with removing something from someone.
Yeah.
Pain, suffering, heartache, what they deem as a curse.
Health problems.
Health problems.
But it's amazing to see people that cannot walk through those doors without help. And then they leave like they're 16 years old. And that's really, people don't believe that someone else can affect their life a lot of times. There's no such thing as curses. But then when you see it, and you see them change, then you know, okay. And that's a very important moment for me, because that's when I realized, okay, I was able to help this person. I have people that come to me for help from every walk of life. I have lawyers, homeless people. It's such a mix that you start to see so many different people, you try to understand them. And you begin to see everyone differently. So you don't see this guy's a judge, this guy's homeless on the street. You start to see everyone as people. The judgment that I think all human beings have to some level begins to fade away, because you see that everyone has all the same problems. Everyone is looking for the same thing. They want to be healthy. They want to have love. They just want to be happy. And that doesn't matter if you got $1 million or $2. Everyone's looking for happiness. So it's my job to make them happy. That's what I do.
All of the people that I work with, the priestesses, the priests, they are loving, good people who are about community and love and respecting one another and serving spirit.
To me, Louisiana has more than stood up to its reputation. I've been welcomed everywhere, have made new friends, and haven't spent any time hungry. I've seen how the culture here is a lot like the food. a mixture of many ingredients added to a pot and resulting in a beautiful shared experience. People from all races, religions, and backgrounds gather here and live together in a diverse and interesting melting pot. Through their common struggles, obstacles, and celebrations, they are united as one people who take care of each other while enjoying freedom, liberty, and a deep love for their country.
Family's just close, you know?
Everybody's your brother, your neighbor, your cousin. Everyone know everyone.
You got all these different friends, right, coming from different parts of Louisiana. But once we all get in that area, it's just like one big old family. Like friends, that's family.
Everybody love each other, everybody. And it's important to show everybody else love that never experienced it before, you know, so that they can have the same love as you have.
We're blood, we're voodoo, we're family. And we are there for each other, come hell or high water.
We all have a lot to learn from the way people in this southern state have built their culture. People from all backgrounds have come together, and instead of tolerating diversity, they've chosen instead to celebrate it. They've chosen to love each other, to learn from each other, to dance, cook, and tell stories. To celebrate and enjoy life to the fullest as they each pursue their own version of the American dream.